sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, welcome everyone. We're diving deep today, folks, into a story that, well, it kind of feels like it's ripped from a movie script.
Yeah, it definitely has that larger-than-life feel to it.
You sent me this CNN article, right? It's from January 30th, 2025, about Sean Diddy Combs. And, I mean, Diddy, music legend, entrepreneur.
Yeah, right.
But now we're talking racketeering, sex trafficking, even kidnapping. It's a lot to process.
Yeah, it really takes a turn. You know, like when you think Diddy, you think hitmaker, you think business mogul, not this.
Not this. So where do we even begin? I mean, this case, it seems like it's been evolving, right?
Oh, absolutely. Initially, it was about racketeering, conspiracy, and transporting women for prostitution.
Right, and that was all focused on this one woman, victim one, as they're calling her.
Exactly. But things have gotten, well, much bigger. There's a new, what do they call it? A superseding indictment.
Yeah.
And that brings in 2 more alleged victims. So now we're up to 3 women. And get this, the timeline goes all the way back to 2004.
So this isn't some recent thing. We're talking 2 decades, potentially.
Yeah, 2 decades. And some of the details in this indictment are pretty disturbing. Like, there's a part where they say Combs allegedly dangled a victim over an apartment balcony.
Whoa. That's definitely intense.
Intense is putting it lightly. It really adds a whole other layer to this whole thing.
Absolutely. And of course, you've got the prosecution and Diddy's defense team, and they're each presenting their own version of events. It's like 2 completely different stories.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely clashing. So the prosecution's argument is basically that Combs used his power and influence to force these women into having sex, often with male sex workers.
They're calling them freak-offs, right?
Right. These freak-offs, these parties. And the prosecution says the women were drugged there.
And they keep saying the investigation is ongoing, so who knows what else they might find.
That's the thing, right? You have to wonder what else is out there. But, you know, on the other side, Diddy's lawyers, they're saying, hold on, this is all a big misunderstanding. They claim the allegations from victim 1. They say it was a long-term relationship and it was consensual.
Consensual.
Mm-hmm. And they're saying the other 2 women, the new ones, they were girlfriends, not prostitutes.
Okay. So it's his word against theirs, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. And I think that's where it gets really tricky. You know, you have this incredibly powerful, influential figure like Diddy. It makes you question the whole idea of consent, doesn't it? I mean, can it truly be consensual when there's such a power imbalance?
That's such a good point. You almost have to wonder, like, even if something did start out consensual, does that power dynamic shift things over time?
Right. Like, can you really say no to someone like Diddy? And I think it's impossible to ignore the Diddy factor here. You know, like his fame, it's a huge part of this whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think being a celebrity helps him in this case? Or could it actually hurt him?
I think it's a double-edged sword, honestly. His celebrity status could definitely sway public opinion. Some people might be more inclined to believe him because they admire him, they like his music. But at the same time, it also puts him under a microscope, doesn't it? Everything he does is scrutinized.
Yeah. You know, we've seen this with other high-profile cases, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the public thinks one thing, and then the legal outcome is completely different.
Oh, absolutely. Public opinion in legal proceedings, they don't always see eye to eye. But going back to the legal side of things, there are some terms being thrown around here that, well, they're a bit complex. Like racketeering, for example. What does that even mean in this context?
Yeah, when I hear racketeering, I think like mob bosses, organized crime, not really music and entertainment.
Exactly. But at its core, racketeering is about using a pattern of illegal activities to essentially run a criminal enterprise. So in this case, the prosecution's argument seems to be that Diddy used his music empire, his businesses, all of it, to facilitate these alleged criminal activities.
Oh, I see. So they're not saying his businesses are inherently criminal, but that he used them like as a cover or a tool for criminal behavior.
Exactly. And then you layer on top of that the charges of sex trafficking and transportation for prostitution. That paints a very specific and very disturbing picture of exploitation.
It does. And we can't forget, this whole case, it's set to go to trial.
Yeah, May 5th, 2025.
May 5th. But with the investigation still open and with these new charges, I mean, is that date even realistic anymore?
That's a good question. You got to figure the defense will try to push for a delay. I mean, they need time to, address these new developments.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot, folks. We've talked about The expanding case, the conflicting narratives, the whole Diddy factor, and some pretty complex legal terms.
We've only just scratched the surface, really. This case is so layered, so nuanced. But there's one question that keeps coming back to me. I mean, regardless of what happens legally, how will all of this affect the music industry? And how will it impact the bigger conversation we're having about power dynamics, particularly in celebrity culture?
That's a really thought-provoking question. A lot to think about there. And as always, we encourage all of you listening to keep digging into this story. There's so much more to uncover.
Absolutely. Don't just take our word for it.
Exactly. Look into it, do your own research, and come to your own conclusions.
That's what this is all about.
That's the deep dive, folks.
The deep dive.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll.